Hello guys! About this video, we will talk about the special scenario for DHCP relay lab. And in the real network, actually, the first practice of DHCP lab, we will directly to make the core switch to become the DHCP server, and directly to assign IP address for all terminals. But in this scenario, the terminal and the DHCP server must exist in the same segment. You can think in the same broadcast domain. But in more scenario, maybe the network is very big, and we hope that we can make a special device to become DHCP server, maybe some hardware server. And between the server and the terminals, maybe the network is very big that they don't in the same segment. Maybe belong to different IP segment, different IP range, something like this. So in this scenario, we have to add a special rule on the DHCP. We call it DHCP relay. So about this practice, we will use the DHCP server. Of course, we also use a router to simulate the DHCP server. And about the Ruijie switch, only plays the role like the switch to provide some network connection. And we will have some terminals also want to get an IP address from the server. But between the server and the terminal, they belong to different IP segment. So this is a basic background, right? And about this lab, the purpose, first one, we want to everyone can master the working principle and application scenario of the DHCP relay, and also know the configuration key point of the DHCP relay. And here also is the topology. But different with the first DHCP lab, we add more router to become a DHCP server. And another one, between the switch and the server, there is a layer 3 link, and we will have a segment of 12.0.0/30, and the left IP address is .1, the right is .2, and the right one is the same parameters of the PC1, PC2, printer, and other requirement. All of them are same. So now we can directly click to let all the devices start. Right? Now it's successful. And the basic principle of the PC1, PC2, the printer, it is same. And some IP address like 172.16.1.200, this is fixed for printer. And another one, 172.16.2.200, this also cannot be used. And the DNS address also is the same parameters like the first practice, but the special requirement is this one, the fourth one. The address for connecting of DHCP server and the switch, we will add a layer 3 link, and this is the plan of the IP address. So this is a basic one. And how to meet the requirement? There are 4 steps. The first one is a basic, right? Basic VLAN, basic IP address, and we also make the gateway on the switch. So we have to create the SVI interface. And the second one, we have to add the DHCP configuration. But the DHCP configuration, we have to add on the DHCP server. And we have to enable the DHCP relay function on the switch, because now about the switch, this switch doesn't provide the function of the DHCP server, only is a relay to forward some DHCP message to the server. And the last one, we can check the result. And pay attention, another one of the process, we have to add some static route on this topology, because about the server and the terminal, they belong to different segments. So we have to add the static route to let them communicate with each other successfully. So this also is different because about the first practice, all of the route belong to the direct route. If we give the IP address of the switch, it's enough. But here we have to add a special routine in order to make the communication successfully. So this is a step. And then let's see the detailed process about this topology. And of course, if you master the basic configuration like VLAN, like IP address, congratulations. Maybe you can directly skip the video and directly to make the configuration faster, and then to go to the next step to see the key point. First, we have to open the devices here about the switch, right? To give the password. To change the name to become Ruijie switch. And then you can create VLAN 10. Add the physical interface to connect with PC 1 gigabit 00, and also add the interface to connect with printer gigabit 02. Let's see. And create VLAN 20. You can directly to enter VLAN 20, or maybe you can exist and create a new VLAN 20. It don't matter. And then you have to add the interface gigabit 01. This is the interface to connect with PC 2. And you have to create the VLAN 10. This is a gateway of PC 1 and the printer. And of course, you have to give an IP address 172.116.1.254, and the mask to become 24. You can use a mask like 255, something like that. And also you can directly use 24, the same result. Interface VLAN 20 to give an IP address 172.16.2.254 and 24. So create successfully, right? And on this topology, the switch also needs another IP address to connect with the DHCP server. And this physical interface gigabit 03, and you have to make the interface to become layer 3. And give an IP address to become 20.00.1, mask is 30. Okay, so pay attention. Someone maybe choose create a new VLAN like VLAN 100 and then to create the SVI interface to make an IP address, the same result. Okay, so this is the basic configuration of the switch, about the VLAN, about the interface. And another one for the DHCP server, let's see. Also, you have to enable and give the password of the router, Ruijie.123, in the config T to change the host name to become DHCP server. Enter, and then you have to give an IP address at first. And the IP address should be this one. Okay, and another one, exists. About the switch, we already have 3 direct routes in the topology, so the switch will know everything. But about the router, because we belong to different IP segments with all the terminals, so the DHCP server also needs the routing information to vet all the terminals. And here, about the DHCP server, we only have one outer interface. So you can direct it to use the default route to visit all the terminals. In the real network, maybe if you have lots of outer interface, maybe someone to visit the ISP to visit the internet, and some outer interface is used to visit the terminal. In this scenario, you have to add a special static belong to PC1, PC2, something like this. Otherwise, maybe it's suggested to use dynamic protocol. But in this topology, the default route is enough. Only for test, not about the real network plan. Okay? And the command is IP route 0.0.0, the mask is 000, and the outer interface is gigabit 00, and who is next step 12.0.0.1. Okay, so this is IP route. And this is a basic configuration of the DHCP server. And later, you have to add the configuration of DHCP. You have to enable the DHCP at first. DHCP, and create the DHCP pool. And the name is finance. Of course, you can make the name like 123, it don't matter. But this one is better for us to do the maintenance. And the list time to become 080. And the segment network 72.16.1.0. Mask is 255.255.255.0. The DNS server is 114.114.114.114. 8.8.8.8. And the gateway default router is 172.116.1.254. This is the first pool. And the second pool, you have to exit and create the pool name for sales. The list time is 080. Network for 72.16.2.0, 255.255.255.0. And the DNS server is 114.8.8.8.8. The gateway is 172. Okay. And another one, we also have special application for the printer, right? So you have to create the printer. IP DHCP pool for printer. And you also have to know the hardware of the router. So the same process, you can check the interface of the router. Config T and show interface gigabit 00. And now you will find the interface MAC address is this one. And you can copy it, come back to the DHCP server, copy that. Yes, it's successful. And later we will assign the IP address like this one. Okay, and the list time also is 080. DNS server 114.114.114.114. Okay, So this is a basic configuration of the server. But pay attention. Now maybe we add the configuration of the terminals to let the terminal send out the DHCP message like DHCP discovery. This message will be broadcast to the switch, but the server cannot receive it because the switch cannot forward the broadcast message to the other IP segment. So how to let the switch know this is a special message for the DHCP? You have to forward to the DHCP server and then get an IP address. We have to enable the DHCP relay function on the switch. So the places you have to know the DHCP relay will be added on the switch, not about the DHCP server, not about the terminal. And what's the key command? You can exist and enter the gateway interface VLAN 10, and the command is IP helper address 12.0.0.2, and also the same command into VLAN 20 IP helper 12.0.0.2. So, if the gateway receives a broadcast message of DHCP discovery, and the switch will make to become a unicast message, and in the unicast message, destination IP address is 12.0.0.2, directly sends the message to the DHCP server. So this is the function of the relay. And later we have to open the DHCP function on the terminals. This operation is same with first practice. Enter the interface, enter the router. You have to enable and set a password. Then you can change some name to become Ruijie PC1. And of course, enter the VLAN 1 to delete IP address at first. And enter the gigabit 00 to become layer 3 interface and give an IP address from DHCP. Okay. Okay, now you will find here is a DHCP address assigned message to show you we get my IP address, right? And pay attention, why we wait so long time? That's because about the switch, we already enable the function of where is the switch? We already enable the function of the DHCP relay, right? But don't forget to enable the function of DHCP. Otherwise, you already add the command of the switch, but the switch also cannot provide the server for service for the DHCP. So please don't forget to enable the service DHCP here. Lost the command, the most important command here. You have to add the DHCP server. So it's very important. And also, we do the practice for PC2C to enable the devices and change the gigabit 00 to become layer 3 interface and make the address to become DHCP. Later, you also can see the configuration here. You see now, you can assign DHCP address here, right? And later, you also can show IP interface brief. you can see the IP address. And about the printer, enable password 123 dot and config T, change the host name to come Ruijie printer, and int_1 no IP address, and enter gigabit 00, and to make layer 3, and to assign IP address to become DHCP. Then you will see the warning. We already get an IP address here, right? This is the IP address. So you can check about the PC one by one. You can see the warning, you can see the IP address. And on your DHCP server here, you can use the command show IP DHCP bounding. You will see lots of IP address already assigned for the terminals. And what's the type? About this one, this is a fixed interface, a fixed IP for the printer, so the type is manually. And about this, the others is automatic. So this is a process. And the key point of the lab. First, the DHCP service must be enabled on both core switch and DHCP server. Otherwise, the terminal cannot obtain IP address. That's why when we first check the result of PC1, we cannot get an IP address. We cannot get the warning of DHCP message. That's because I lost the command to enable the DHCP service on the switch. So this one is very important. And another one, the default route to the core switch needs to be configured on the DHCP server. If a professional DHCP server is used, such as the Linux or Windows DHCP server, you don't need to configure this route because you will give the gateway of this DHCP server, right? So you don't need to add a special static route on the Linux or Windows DHCP server. But on this simulator, we use a router to do the DHCP server and how to keep the communication between different segments. We will add a special route. So that's all about this practice. Thank you.